Hey folks, Rob here, and I was going to try to get around to shooting the AR-15 pistol build I done today, or I was going to try and shoot that today, but it's luck of the draw. I work for 6 straight 12s, and it's dry as a bone, and the first day I'm off, it's pouring the rain. Anyway, I done the video yesterday, I think it was, or on the mid 10 red dot site that CV Life had sent me to do a little review on, and initial impressions I looked at, it looks identical to the pinty that I bought, and long story short is that if you do YouTube videos, you're going to get some comments that are negative, and one of the comments I got is somebody commented they would never use that cheap junk red dots on any firearm, and especially an AR. And I thought, of course that's firearms elitism. I mean, that's people who, maybe wants to spend, $400, $500, $600 on an optic to put on a red dot that, and that's fine. If you have that kind of money to waste on stuff like that, by all means, go for it. But I don't, and a lot of people don't. Just like I've gotten some comments on the Hatfield shotguns. Why did you buy those? Well, I bought them because people that are on a budget, sometimes have to settle for less than. The comment was, why didn't I buy a Benelli? Well, you know what? I've owned a Benelli and I didn't like it, so I bought the guns as an exercise in, seeing what the average person who doesn't have a lot of extra money to spend on things of that nature can expect to get for their money. Is it a Beretta? No, the Hatfields are not Berettas by any means. They're not. Are they something that you could take out and go hunting with once in a while? Sure. They work for that. I done pretty good on 3 out of 4 of them. The 410 was a total flop, but the other 3, they've proven out to be pretty good guns. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. My whole premise for this video is, this is the pinty red dot sight. I bought this off Amazon. I paid $30 something for it. I mounted it on my AR-15. I haven't shot it yet. I've never used this red dot yet. It's still basically brand new. It's been mounted on one firearm. Actually 2. I had on the 22 Stevens, but that I never got to zero in yet. So anyway, I thought, you know what? Be the perfect day to try this thing out. For $30 some, what can you expect for this thing to do? So, it's raining like cats and dogs out there right now. So, we're going to take this thing outside and set it out in the rain, and we're just going to leave it sitting out there a while. And then, if that ain't enough, after we leave it sitting out a few hours, I think I'll just bring it in and we'll throw it in the freezer and freeze it and see what it does. And just so you know, let me fire it up here. Try to get it in the shot to where you can see. Now this may be difficult. I may not be able to. There you go. There's the dot. So the dot is illuminated there. You can see it back there on the flag. So we're going to take this thing out there and set it down in a downpour. So let me pause you here, and we'll get that set up and going. So I don't want to take my phone out in the rain, but I'm going to take the pinty here, and we're going to take it over and set it on top of the wife's car, and we're going to leave it out there a while. And I paid for this. This wasn't a freebie. So you can see it's raining fairly good. And we'll come back let's get you zoomed in there so you can see it sitting there. There it sits on the car. And we're just going to leave it there for several hours. And I'll get back with you later on and we'll take that thing in and we'll put it in the freezer. I never thought to give you a time when I first started this, but it's 11 o'clock in the morning. And so there's the time. We'll come back and revisit this in a little bit, and we'll give it a few hours. So a little bit of an update. The Pinty's been sitting out there. It's probably been out there about an hour now. And as you can see, the rain is still coming down fairly steady. You see it coming down out there off the building. So we're just going to leave this out here a while and let that little Pinty soak, see what she does. Well, it's 1 o'clock and the little Pinty red dot sight has been out there in the rain. It's been raining pretty well steady the whole time. So we'll give it about another hour and then we'll bring it in and check it out. Alright, I went out and got the little red dot. Actually, I fell asleep. It is now 10 minutes after 5, so it's been out there a little over 6 hours. And as you can see, it's pretty wet. It's been out there, like I said, for 6 hours. Water dripping off of it. So, we're not going to dry it a whole lot. I may just dab the lenses off here so we can see if we can see any water in it. And we're going to turn it on. And our dot is still on in there. I see no water in it. There's no fogging. So would appear that it passed the rain test. Like I said, that's been sitting out in the rain for 6 hours on top of the car, and there's no water in the optic. Let you get a good look there. Let's draw off the battery door here a little bit. Let's check inside the battery compartment for any water that, well, man, I got that tight. Let me get something to, hey Sheila, hand me a butter knife or something. Put that on too tight. Well, my hands are wet, I can't hold on to it. There we go. My hands were wet. And there's no water in the battery compartment. It is completely dry. So, I would say, as far as being caught out in the rain or in a rainstorm, dunking it in the water, I'd say it's pretty well, because it has rained here all day long.
3.5 inches.
3.5 inches, Sheila said, is what they said we got. So, let's check her one more time. There's no fogging. No fogging, no. All of our brightness levels still work. It's hard to see on that on that table, the color of it. See if that helps. Yeah. Shows up better on that black. All the settings still work. So, sorry about that. But there it is. So, let me pause you, and we're going to put this in the freezer and freeze it. So here we're going to put it in our freezer. I think I'll just put it in there on the ice maker. We're going to leave that in there. Like I said, it's 5:15 right now. We'll leave that in there a while, let her freeze up. Then we'll come back and see what we got. Okay, we've been in the freezer about 2 hours, and we actually have ice frozen to the red dot. Let's see if we can get some of that off. Let's take it over here and see if we can get some. Let me knock some of this ice off. So here is the pinty after 2 hours in the freezer. It's pretty well frozen solid. Of course, the lenses were still wet, so they do have some ice on them. Let me see. We need to thaw those out. I don't see any water inside. I just put my thumb over it a minute. Maybe the heat from my thumb will be enough to thaw out the ice that's frozen on the lenses. Yeah, that's working. And we'll do the same on that. I'll just hold on to that for a minute, and that should be sufficient to melt that. True, she's cold. She is definitely cold. Let me grab a paper towel, and we will dry this off a little bit, and we'll dry the lenses enough where we can see if we got any water or anything in the lens itself. So I'm gonna dry off the lens, dry off this rear lens, and let's see if we can turn it on. It does turn on, and there's our dot. Of course, it's still fogging up on the outside because it's just come out of the freezer, but I see no sign, any indications of any water in the site itself. So it's set out in the Eastern Kentucky thunderstorm for 6 hours, was frozen for 2 hours, and of course the outer lenses are going to freeze, or are going to fog up a little bit because of change in the temperature from being frozen to being room temperature. But that's going to happen on any optic. The outer lenses are going to fog. What we're concerned with here is water on the inner side of the scope, and there is none. Get this ice out of the... Now, what does that say about this scope? Well, it says for $30 it's pretty well weatherproof. It's will withstand a rainstorm or a dunking in water. Now, I don't know if you threw this in a bathtub for 6 hours if it would last, but so, you know, the whole premise that you get what you pay for. Sometimes you get more than what you pay for. Sometimes things like this are some of the higher end stuff that you think you're spending money on may actually be made in the same factory with a different name on it. You know, with today's manufacturing, you never know what you're getting. You know, there's so many companies out there that buy the same product, stick their name on it, and And that's, you're getting the same thing and paying more money for one than you would the other. But you can see there is no sign of any water intrusion into this. Still functions perfectly. There's your settings. All still visible. It's hard to see through the lens. They get to a point where I can't see them through the camera. But, and like I said, this is going to continue to fog up on the outside until it adjusts to room temperature. So I thought, okay, that tells us this will hold up in the weather. And so in part 2 of this, we're going to do some more with this thing. I'm going to mount this to a 12 gauge shotgun, and next time you see this, we're going to put about 100 rounds of 12 gauge through this, and we'll see if it can withstand the recoil of a 12 gauge. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching, and you know, this was just a little torture test of the Pinty red dot sight, which is identical to the mid-10 sight I just got yesterday or day before. And so I would assume, based on this, them being identical, that they would be identically waterproof and weatherproof. And like I said, it is still fogging on the outside, but you just wipe that off. Once it adjusts to room temperature, it'll be fine. I'm actually going to let it sit here and thaw a while, and then we'll finish up. We'll look at it and make sure no fog forms on the inside. So we'll be back in a little bit, and we'll take our final look. All right, our little red dot's been sitting out here about half an hour or so. It's finally warmed up to room temperature. As you can see there's no water, anything in the scope. The red dot still functions fine. It's held up really well. So as far as the weather part of it goes, I'd say this little red dot has pretty well proven itself to be water and fog resistant. So like I said, this proves that it's pretty durable for a $30 red dot as far as its ability to withstand weather conditions. Like I said, we're going to put this on a 12 gauge, and then I'm going to put about 100 rounds to it, and we'll see if we get any type of flickering in the dot, anything like that under recoil, if it tears it up or whatever. So we're going to torture test this a little bit more, and I appreciate everybody watching. This has turned into a longer video than I wanted it to be, but you know, this has taken me hours to do. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and until part 2 of this, when we mount it on something and put some rounds through it, we'll see you later.